So let's talk a little bit about dating in today's age. So boy, dating, it was already hard. It was really hard before the 2020 situation. But oh my God, how that's changed everything. When you thought it was hard, now it got really, really hard, in my opinion. And I'm sure many other people share my feeling. So so I can speak a little bit about dating, being informed, because I've actually used online dating for a short while. I think maybe a 3 months period in 2018. So not that long ago. And wow, that was an experience. But I've learned a lot. So I've learned that. Well, for once, I learned that online dating is not definitely not for me, but perhaps very valuable for many other people. I know a lot of success stories, people who've met online, and they went on to get married and lived very happy, had families and so on. So that's great. I love to hear successful stories about that. Now, my takeaways are, you know, obviously we had many moving parts in the overall dynamic between men and women, and any conflicts between these sort of relationships, romantic or gender specific conflicts between men and women who have been amplified by society and many interests invested in this. And to be honest with you, myself, as well as many other women and men, I'm sure, have noticed that for the past 10, perhaps 20 years, perhaps even longer than that, the quality of relationships between men and women, have been deteriorating. And obviously we know there's high rate of divorce worldwide, and there are many reasons for that, obviously. But I guess from the research I've done, it seems to me that we kind of deviated from the core roles that men and women play in a relationship. And I mean, briefly, men are the leaders. They're naturally the leaders, and they should be encouraged to take on the leader role in a relationship, in a romantic relationship. And the primary role is, for men, is that of a provider and a protector, for the woman in their life. And women, on the other hand, traditionally, they have been the helpers of men. So their role was, and still is, to be, supportive, encouraging, nurturing, there for the men. And we kind of drifted apart from these traditional roles. And obviously we have feminism, which, well, depending who you ask, you get different responses to that. I myself don't believe in feminism. I believe in femininity. So I believe, women and men, they perform different roles. And of course you can have women who, they're the boss, they're in charge, and can take on, the provider, protector roles. But it's something that would put a lot of stress on them, because that doesn't come naturally to a woman. They really can perform well in these roles, but it does really mess up the the chakras, the energy flow in their bodies, because they were born to fulfill different roles. Same thing with men. Men nowadays, and obviously I'm not speaking for everybody, but from my own observations, what I see around me, it's very rare that I see, manly men, as they're called, and people are becoming more flaky. And it's not just men, women as well, and masculinity and femininity, they're just literally very hard to come by, very hard to come across, and yeah, these are some of my observations. So just to say that, just to go back to my experience with dating, online dating. So my experience has been that using 3 different online platforms for 3 to 4 months period, that just give them a try. Give them a try. They basically, there's a lot of people, great people there. I've met some great people, but I'd say, overall, my finding is that at best, what you find on these dating sites is average people, at best. Oh, you can find really rude people, really, bad people, really like horrible characters. Obviously, that happens, in real life as well. You don't have to go online for that. But it's that I couldn't see, anybody stand out. And I really met and spoke to a lot of people, a lot of men. And actually, I had a lot of, first dates, icebreakers, as I call them, but none really, real second date, or anything more serious, because there was no mutual interest or attraction or anything that of interest to me. But other than that, I mean, these are nice people, great people, sort of great people if you really want an average sort of relationship, or you are an average person, and basically that's the level, and that's fine. It's absolutely normal. We're all different. So basically my takeaway is, really, unless there's some high profile, really, I wouldn't say elite, but more elitist, or more specific specialist type of dating, online dating platform with some sort of sorting or profiling, for people that really stand out. I think it's a lot of time that you invest to meet with really ordinary people, really average people. And as I said, that's all good if because we normally attract what we are, isn't it? We don't attract what we want or who we want. We really attract who we are. So if we're average, we attract average people. If we're awesome, we attract awesome people. If we are below average, we attract below average people. So it's what we put out there, it's exactly what we attract. So just some comments on that. Now, my wider observations, for why it seems it's not that easy for some people to find people to settle with, start a family, is the differences. I think they come from vision or lack of, from character traits, and from wisdom or lack of wisdom. And I think lastly, from dating without purpose, which it's like a plague nowadays. It's all just going with the flow. So I'm just going to quickly comment a little bit on each one of these. So vision, I find that if you're a woman and you speak to a man, and in the right first couple of meetings, you ask this man, what is he working towards, what is his main goal in his life, does he have something that he's working towards achieving, and you don't get a clear answer, or the vision is not clear, or you don't see exactly how you would fit in a vision like that, or there's no vision at all. I think that's really, that could be a reason why, right there, that's just, a relationship that's not going to work very well. So vision is very important, especially, a man as a leader of the relationship. He must have a strong vision. He must have he must be driven. He must know exactly where he's going, because if he knows where he's going, one, he knows himself very well. He knows what his goals are, and he knows what kind of woman he needs in his life to help him accomplish those goals. So clarity is very important, and a man with clarity, a man with vision, is a man that's very attractive for the right woman. So, I mean, for a lot of women, but especially for the right woman. So that's my comment on vision. Then character, whoa boy, character is so important. Now with this flakiness in today's life, for both men and women, right? Character has been, the one of the most important determinants on whether a relationship is going to work or not. And you have your own character traits, and then you have your non-negotiable character traits, the minimum character traits you'd accept, or from a man or from a woman. And obviously if you have identified some undesirable character traits that you really can't live with, and early on you can tell the person across from you has these character traits, then obviously clearly that relationship is not going to work very well. So you're better off trying to early on identify what are the character traits for the person you're dating, and what are your own, to make sure that there is alignment there, and avoid any heartbreak or issues or drama down the line. Wisdom has been in my mind, and for a long time, I guess wisdom, we've associated that with the old people, with the sage, but really wisdom is something everybody has, no matter the age. Children have wisdom if they're mature enough, and then obviously men and women have wisdom, and some people more than others, and some people really lack in this department. So I guess when you are looking to build a relationship long term with somebody, you really want to make sure that this person has wisdom, and wisdom is like common sense. There's a saying, common sense is not that common. Same with wisdom is not that common, as you may think. So it really pays to pay attention to see the person you're dating is really has wisdom, and you can because wisdom is going to play out an important role in difficult circumstances, difficult situations, when you have to make really hard decisions. You would want to be able to depend on wisdom. And obviously dating with purpose. Now, wow, we could talk for hours on this thing, but I guess the difference between people who get married and you build a strong relationship, and then a family and children, and they live a really satisfying and happy life, family life, is and the people who don't, and they go from break to heartbreak, is the ones who go on to get married to build happy families. They date with purpose. That's my conclusion. So it's really good to think about before you even start dating. It's just to make it clear in your mind. I mean, what's the purpose? Why you're dating? Is it because you wanna kill some time? You need some company? You're feeling lonely? It's just a quick relationship for convenience? Friends with benefits type thing? Or do you really want to find your soulmate? Do you want to build something everlasting, you have companionship for life, understanding, respect, love, admiration, um, the real good stuff. And if you set your intention right on, and then you get the other person to kind of state their intention with dating, what's their purpose in dating. If they, for a one night stand and you're for like building a family, I guess, it's just easier for you, and perhaps for the other person too, if you identify this difference in intention and, cut it short, cut the, relationship or interaction short. It just saves you so much time, saves you so much heartache, disappointment, sleepless nights, crying in your pillows. So, just avoid dating with purpose. Very important. Let me see what else. Yeah, right. One other thing I wanted to say, I think this is a very important thing today, which I've noticed. A lot of people when they're looking for, their best, they are, that's someone special. The better half, as they say. I don't really like that, but anyway. So they're looking for their soulmate. They're looking for someone to build something important in their life. They think that if they get someone who has a high degree education, really someone who's done whatever professional courses and is working for big name companies and all that, Ivy League and all that, and who is is an intellectual, that's a big thing. That's a good thing to have. And I found that from lived experience, what's really important at the end of the day is not a big brain who has a lot of education, but is someone who is really, I mean, when I say education, I mean schooling. There's someone who's gone to the high, the biggest schools, the most prestigious schools. What's important is someone that is really understanding what's going on in the world right now, especially right now, but someone who has an understanding, obviously going back to wisdom. So all that schooling, all that education, sometimes if people live in their heads and they pride themselves in being intellectuals, and they're disconnected to from the world, and especially from their heart, that's not a good thing, especially not for a woman, or for the average woman, because women, they really want someone to connect with. And I have a really, really great quote from Mark Twain, one of my favorites. He says he never let his schooling interfere with his education. And I found that really, really interesting. So basically, schooling is something he's done in school, so he learned, right? Like we all do. We go to school, we get, brainwashed, indoctrinated, all that. But also we learn social skills, interacting with other people, which is good, which is great. But then education is something that, you do after or, alongside schooling, and, it stays with you for the rest of your life. You need to get educated, stay educated, continue your education, in everything that's of interest to you, but especially, current events, politics, current affairs, so on. So, and Mark Twain still says something about education is mainly about unlearning, which is so true, so true. So, yeah, I think these are, my thoughts on dating in today's age. But just to conclude, so, this was a summary based on my experience in 2018, using some online dating websites, meeting, a lot of people in person once. But just to say, reflecting now, if I don't know how dating is going to take any shape in today's age, 2021 and, onwards. It seems like we are so divided. We are more divided than ever, and everybody is everybody is looking for someone to understand them, and it's right now people are very antagonized. So if it was difficult before now, I think now it's even more difficult, and I'm really curious to learn from other people what their experience has been like or is right now today, right? So yeah, if you have any comments, if you have any wisdom or experiences you'd like to share, just leave in the comments, and I'll be keen to learn from you, and perhaps I'll do another follow-up video with any of the comments that are interesting.